Harcourts, Rata and Co-Auctioneer at number 6, Noel Court in Thomastown. My name is Robert Ozzimo. I proudly represent the company of Harcourts, Rata and Co. And I'm joined here today by some of my award-winning colleagues in blue. Should you require their advice, please feel free to approach either Lou, Daniel, Valley, Harry, Michael, and of course, and another Michael we have in the crowd, and of course Maria, who no doubt you've had the great pleasure of meeting throughout the marketing campaign. Buyers, let me share with you now the following announcements which in place help you bid and buy with absolute confidence here today. The auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules, and any additional conditions that remain available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for a property after the property's been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price as the auctioneer. I'll indicate bidders on request. The law prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders, and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding, and provides for fines for such conduct. The rules permit for vendor bids. The words I'll use during the auction to indicate that I'm making a bid on behalf of the vendor are vendor bid, and by law only I, as the auctioneer, can make a vendor bid. The contract of sale has been on display prior to today's auction. We call for a 10% deposit upon the fall of the hammer and the signing of that contract to take place here today, with the balance to be paid at settlement in a flexible 60 to 90 days time, at which time the vendor will provide the lucky buyer with vacant possession of the property. All in all, quite a straightforward contract. Everything is in there, everything's quite clear. So buyers, is with my highest recommendation what we offer for your consideration and competition here today. Here in the bowl of Noel Court, we're blessed with location, access to everything that you need for a great investment, access to everything that you need for a great lifestyle for you and your family, not far away at all from multiple transport options, both those available in Thomastown and not far away from the tram 86 on Plenty Road. Easy access to the Western Ring Road, providing simple access into the city, and good quality schools surrounding us, both primary and secondary, all at our fingertips. It is that infrastructure which underpins capital growth and provides security for you and your family throughout the years through that capital growth. The property itself immaculately maintained by the current owner. Nothing to do, plenty of scope though to add your own touches on and make it your own over the years. What a great opportunity for the investor. What a great opportunity for the first home buyer. What an opportunity for you and your family today to bid, buy, get the sold sticker on the board. If that's your goal, right now is the opportunity to lock in that right, buyers. Where can I see a fair and reasonable starting bid for number 6, Noel Court? Who'd like to start us off? I don't mind the call, buyers. I'm in your hands. Where do we start? At 720,000, a great start there at 720,000. It's just a high start. Don't let it put you off if you're here to buy. There's the competition at 20 now. At 720,000. At 720 the bid. At 720,000, fairly been offered now. We're up and racing at 20. At 720,000. At 720,000, fairly been offered now. At 720 the bid. Once at 720,000, are we done? At 720,000, second call. At 720, are we done? Finished. For the third and final call, I will take the 5 for 725. Thank you, sir. Welcome here today. Best of luck to you at 725. Bids there, Valley against your buyer at 725. At 725,000, fairly been offered now at 725 the bid. At 725,000, bid there. Opportunity with your buyer, Valley. At 725,000, I will say at 725, we are on the market and selling at 725,000. Make absolutely no mistake about it. I'm not going inside. I'm not seeking further instructions. My instructions have been sought. They have been given. They are to sell. So 725,000, the bid's there, the keys are there. We play for keeps. If you've come to buy, you must bid me now or forever hold your peace, because there's no second chances here today at 725. At 728 now, bids back there at 728. At 728.30, the quick retort. At 730,000. At 730, fairly been offered now at 730,000, bid there against the fence. Opportunity with your buyer, Valley, now at 730,000. At 730,000, we play for keeps here today. We're on the market. We're selling. Bids here. Keys are here at 730 now. Once at 730,000. Done. Second call at $730,000 the bid. Done. Finished. At 40 over there. I'm going to go with the bigger number at the back, Valley, at 740. Welcome and best of luck at 740. Never too late to the Hammer Force. It almost fell on you then, sir, but we're in the race at 740,000. At 740,000, fairly been offered now. 740 the bid at 42. At 742 now. At 742,000, bid there at 42. At 45 for 745. At 745,000, bid behind, opportunity in front at 45. At 745,000, fairly been offered. They've got the keys at 45. At 745 now, bids against you at 46. At 746,000. At 746 and at 50, and a great bit of stats, a quick retort at 50. At 750,000. At 750,000, can I suggest maybe 60, sir? At 750 the bid, we're playing for keeps, I'm not going inside. At 750,000, at 51 now, 751. At 751,000, back here at 51, at 55. At 755 the bid. At 755,000, we're selling here today. At 755, bids there, keys are there. We're on the market, we sell 755. Once at 755, done. At 756, welcome sir, and best of luck here today at 756,000. Fresh competition at 756, at 756,000, at 756,000 bid there at 760 now, at 761, at 761, at 761,000, at 761,000 fairly at 63, at 764, at $764,000 now. At 66, at 766, at 767, at 767,000. Now, yes, coming in a little bit closer. At 770 now, at 770,000, at 771 now, at 771,000, at 772, at 3, at 773 and 4, at 774 with a backhand at 74, 5, at 775 and a forehander now at 6, at 776,000, at 776 in the bids here, at 8 now at 778, at 778 at 80 got, at 780,000, at 780 the bids here, keys are here, we sell, at 780 now. I didn't mind that you were that far. I was going to get my steps in. At 780,000, the bid's there. At 780, need to know. At 780,000 against your bid. At 780, is that 81? At 81 now, at 781. At 781,000, how about a serve, sir? At 781, a lob, I'll take a lob, but a lob's worth 5. At $500 for 500, 781 and a half, is that right, sir? 781 and a half. At 781,500, bid there at 781 and a half. Bid there, opportunity with you, 781,500, 83 now, 783, and 85 now, at 785 the bid, at 785,000 bids there, keys are there, we're on the market and selling at 785, they're definitely out, Valley, thank you for their bidding, at 785 bids there, keys are there, 785 the bid, once, at 785 done, so we're done over here, thank you very much for your bidding here today, was that 86 and 87? And a half, 86 and a half, 87 and a half, at 787 and a half, at 787 and a half now, about 90, 787 and a half, only one to beat, at 787,590 now, at 790 the bid, at 790,000 and a half, at 790,500, at 790,500, you told me that before, sir, at 790,500, at 790 and a half now, bids there, keys are there, we're on the market, we sell 790,500 the bid, once, twice, third, final call at 92 and a half at 93, at 793, at 793 straight back at you, the quick retort with half, at 793 might be erased away, at 793,000, bids there, keys are there, on the market and selling, don't walk away for half, at 793,000. So is that a forthcoming bid? At 793, if it is, I need to know. At 793, at 793,000 bids there, you happy to let them have it at that? They've got the keys, do they keep them? At 793 now, at 793, first call at 793, done! Second call, 793 the bid, done, finished. 95. At 95, at 700 and a half, at 795 and a half, at 795,500. Are you absolutely sure? Definitely done. Thank you so much for your bidding here today. At 795,500, bids here, keys are here. We're done over there, done on the phone. At 795,500, once at 795 and a half, all done. Second call at 795,500. Done and finished. Third, final call at 795.5. All done, all finished. Silent and out at 795.5. Definitely done. Thank you very much for being here today at 795,500. We're selling, selling, selling. Sold. Congratulations and well bid. Please join me in congratulating our purchasers and our vendors here today. You've just witnessed another successful Harcourts, Rata and Co auction. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again soon.